because the chat has gone absolutely bonkers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking this evening about rage and violence is coming to the United Kingdom. It's coming to the world. It's coming to the West. It's coming to the East. It's coming all over. The Greenland Gambit has started it all. We're talking about the New World Order unfolding in front of our eyes. Before we get on to that, can you guys do me a real big favor, though, if you've not done so already? Can you please make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe button, share my stuff on your socials, because that really helps as well. We're double streaming at the moment. We're on TikTok and we are on YouTube. So I'm going to do my opening monologue. I'm then going to come on to the chat. But my opening monologue, I am going to come back to this and expand it a little bit once I've closed TikTok down, because it will get a little bit spicy. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, time travelers, everybody who's trying to figure out what's happening in this world. So let's just start, shall we? Shall we just start? Shall we start at the beginning? Let's start at the beginning. So this is going to be a wild ride, all right? This is going to be a wild ride because I've been looking at things today and I've been looking inward. I've not just been looking outward, I've been looking inward to the depths of my own soul. Yes, I have been looking at the depths of my own soul. So fellow Britons or wherever it is around the world you guys are, and listen, do you know what? I do sometimes I become, sometimes you may think I'm overcritical about certain people. And all I know is that I'm not going to say who's the worst, but all I know, the best people are white British people. They're the best. They are. That's just the reality, all right? I think everybody just needs to accept that, just accept it, deal with it, and move on. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show started. So you're in for a wild ride. Now, before I start, let me just be crystal clear, because I know I'm streaming on TikTok. This is my own opinion, speculation, and analysis. And of course, this video is for entertainment purposes, all right? So just, any correlation with mainstream media and current events is absolutely coincidental. And it all kicks off with what Raven is calling Trump's Greenland Gambit. So picture this. Donald Trump's bold plan. And I'm going to tell you now how the New World Order is going to roll out. I am. Oh, somebody sent me a gift. Danny, thank you for sending me the gifts on TikTok. So Trump's bold play for Greenland is setting the first footsteps for the New World Order. It's going to be followed by a move on Canada and a hold onto your teacups, because there's going to be a move on the United Kingdom, and I'm talking the reshaping of global alliances. That could leave us with an absolute powerhouse called the Anglosphere. America is the original gangster, the top G, the 1G, the OG. You've got Greenland in the mix. You've got Canada, the United Kingdom. I'm throwing in there Australia, New Zealand, perhaps even Israel, Japan, and Taiwan jumping on board. This axis, I'm going to call this one Oceania. If any of you guys have read George Orwell's 1984, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. But make no mistake, it's a block built to weather the storms ahead. On the flip side of that camp, you're going to have the opposing side, which is going to be, as far as I'm concerned, China, Russia, Europe, Iran, North Korea. I don't know about Turkey and India, but those two countries have always been aces in the hole for me. The lines are blurring. The tensions are rising. What I think everybody on this live stream and you know what, guys, everybody in the world has to agree right now. The world is transforming before our eyes, before our very eyes. Every day we look at the news and we have these these new cataclysmic movements, global politics, global shifts, old alliances crumbling, new alliances growing. There's no going back. There is no going back to 2019. It's just done. It's over. It's finished. We ain't going back, ladies and gentlemen. Stop your bitching. Get in the kitchen and make a sandwich, all right? Because there is no going back. You don't go back. In life, you move forwards. There's no going back to the new normal. Everything is accelerating. And as we move forwards, have you not noticed how 25 was at a certain pace and boom, we hit 2026 and things just went, whoa, warp speed. So we are hurtling towards what? Well, I'll tell you what right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are hurling towards violence, rage on an industrial scale, on a massive scale. I'm talking about catastrophic global conflicts, World War III, World War IV, unfolding on an industrial scale. It's the stuff of nightmares, or perhaps the dawn of something new. And I promise you, if that wasn't enough to get everybody worried, literally today from the Bank of England in the United Kingdom. Look, guys, and I'm not going to really talk about this much because I think I did an hour on this earlier. If this wasn't enough, literally today, the Bank of England are preparing strategies if aliens land. I'm not making that up. I love aliens and I love talking about aliens. But the Bank of England are now being urged to create, guys, this is out in the mainstream media. I'm not making this up. This is not speculation. That's not analysis and that's not opinion. The Bank of England are being urged to develop strategies if, yes, aliens, actual like nanu, not people arriving on a rubber dinghy, if aliens arrive on Earth or make contact or are officially confirmed. Could things be any more bonkers? Here in the United Kingdom, we are already dealing with our own alien invasion, mass migration that's aggressively reshaping the fabric of our society, our communities, our culture, our way of life. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to come back onto each one of those individual points. And then I'm going to give you guys my top 3 trigger points that would cause a civil war in the United Kingdom. I talk about how I believe World War III will, and just for context, if you're joining or you're new to the channel, when I talk about World War III, I'm talking about international, Ukraine, Iran, militaries, green militaries, guns, tanks, bombs, trains, planes, automobiles, 5.56, 5.45, 9mm, 50 cal, AK-47s, AK-74s, M4 assault rifles, and bullpup SA-80s. All that sort of stuff. That's World War III. World War IV, Odin, Dva, Tri. Odin, Dva, Tri. Chaturi. Is that Arabic? I get mixed up with my Arabic and Russian. I've not been speaking either language for a while. World War IV will be fought on our streets. That will be fought because we have the perfect ingredients for a civil war in the United Kingdom right now. And once I get the chat, I'll come over and then I'll go through my opening monologue again, but I will expand on that once I've turned TikTok off. And then I will talk to you guys about my top 3 scenarios for how civil war in the United Kingdom will start. And if you get, which I would call World War IV, because that's not going to just be happening in the United Kingdom, that's going to be happening all over. Also, I'm just going to throw this out there now. I think World War III will start by accident. I've given you guys many scenarios of how World War III will start by accident. That's how I think it's going to happen. It will be a miscommunication. It will be a miscalculation. It will be, Yoda, make sure you don't fire 50 cal at Britain. Make sure you use smoke grenade. And then Yoda, he's like, what, Vladimir? I didn't hear you. I was listening to DJ Punk. So that's kind of the thing that's going to happen. That's how I think World War III will start. Remember, you've got both sides now ramping up, building more ammunition, reviewing their rules of engagement. So one slight little miscalculation, and within 30 minutes, all hell is going to break loose. How will I know? Remember, don't break radio silence until they see me. How will I know? All fucking hell is going to break loose. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we are right now. We're Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's rowing to the beach, Jenny's in the thing. You've got Power Station playing. He's not quite clipped himself up yet in all the guns and bombs and bullets, but it's about to happen anytime soon. Right, let me jump into the chat, ladies and gentlemen. You feisty lot. Cindy is saying, I keep waking up and checking the news as soon as I open my eyes. It's like it's a wild ride. It is a wild ride. It's a wild ride we're on. But look, let's just all look in the mirror for 1 second and appreciate how wild these times are. You know, they're absolutely wild. When I gave you guys, look, here's the thing, right? Here's a question for everyone, right? Do you think civil war is coming to the United Kingdom? Yes or no? It's a simple question. I do. Right? So whether you think, it's totally up to you. If you do think it's coming to the United Kingdom, I've given you guys my estimates of the human toll. And my low-end estimate, my realistic low-end estimate is 2.1 million. So that number is like almost 10 times the amount of people we lost in World War II. Call it 8, call it 9, call it 9 for good measure. Call it, it's about 9, but call it 8 for good measure, right? So in a civil war in the United Kingdom, as we are now, from my estimates and from my numbers, and I've done a video on this, I'm speculating my low end number, and this is my low end number as well. This is my low end number, is 2.1 million people. That is a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot of people going to the candy shop. Neo Skills is saying news and social media is the worst thing to go by nowadays. Everything is painted doom and gloom. You see, when I get this, right? And when I used to, so the comment here is news and social media is the worst thing nowadays. Everything is painted doom and gloom. I mean, a lot of stuff is doom and gloom. Let's just be clear about that. If it wasn't for social, like the internet, basically, let's take social media out of that. Let's just put the internet, right? If it wasn't for the internet and people with camera phones, like, you guys wouldn't know how bad things are in other parts of the world. You guys wouldn't know the reality of some places in the Middle East, some places in Africa, some places in Eastern Europe. If it wasn't for the internet and if it wasn't for the instantaneous passage of information, like, people, like 95% of people would just think, maybe even more, would just think that the world is all rose and candy. But until that is up against you, you don't realize it's there. And I think I would actually argue against what you're saying, although I do understand where you're coming from. I would actually argue against you, and I would say news and social media has given people the truth about how the world is. I think that would be a better statement. Catalytic Converter is saying, yes, tensions have been high for the last 15 years. Last 5, it's got worse. I'm a ground worker, dump driver, and the shit I get daily for smiling is crazy. I don't know what that means. You get told off for smiling? I don't know what that means. Jennifer is saying, yes. I don't know. Oh, okay. Do we think, right? Okay. So I asked earlier, do we think civil war is coming? Most people are saying yes. Silly Gallardi is saying Europe will be the first to go while you will issue statements and resolutions in the UN. You will be taken down unless you... Silly, I can't agree with you more. You know all these little bits of paper? We're going to sign this document. Oh no, we're signing this document. All these little bits of paper, ladies and gentlemen, they mean absolutely nothing. I promise you, right? Let me give you guys the scenario, right? let me give you guys the scenario. Keir Starmer, and this is a total scenario, total hypothetical scenario, okay? Keir Starmer, right? Keir Starmer is standing there, right? He's got his book of legislation, right? It's taken the British Empire thousands of years to develop these laws, these legislations, you know, these amendments. He's got it there and he's like, yes, I'm the defender of the rights. I'm the defender of this book. I will defend this book because this book is the law. All right? He's there. He's got he knows everything. He's the world's #1 top barrister. He's the best legal expert in the entire world, right? He's standing there in the red corner. And in the blue corner is Yuri. Yuri is 18. He's Russian, right? He doesn't speak a word of English. He doesn't really read much. And he's brought to the party an AK-74 with 30 rounds of ammunition. Cost less than $1,000. Took maybe a day to fabricate. Right. The bell goes. Who's going to win that fight? Who's going to win that fight? Is your money on Keir Starmer with his laws, his legislation, his bits of paper and the ink? Or is your money on Yuri, the 18-year-old conscript with an AK-74 and 30 rounds of 5.45? I know who my money's on. So as Silly Gallardi is saying there, here we are in Europe and we're signing amendments and resolutions, and it's all swizzle, guys. It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. Laws and legislation mean nothing without the violence to enforce them. And we don't have that violence in the United Kingdom. We don't have that violence anymore. Victory has defeated us. But I do think, you know, and in fairness to everyone, and in fairness to people of Britain, I do think that Gen Z are gonna absolutely knock this out the park. I do. I think Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they are going to knock this shit out the park. They're going to take everyone to the candy shop. I mean, look, the difference here is when Europeans get angry, it takes a long time. It does. It takes an absolute long time, right? But you know when that pin's being pulled, it's just game over for everyone else. It's literally game over for everyone else. Now, it doesn't matter whether those Europeans are beaten, buckled down to 6% of the population, 3% of the population, 2% of the population, 1% of the population. It doesn't matter, because they can come together and unite and be greater than the sum of their own parts. That's the reality. But things that are going to get a lot worse before they get better. Things are going to be a lot worse before they get better. Right. Hang on. Right. So I'm going to give you guys my top 3 scenarios for a civil war trigger in the United Kingdom. And then I will jump onto the chat. I'll close you guys down on TikTok and then we'll continue. It's going to be a little bit spicy tonight, guys, and I would definitely get myself banned on TikTok. So listen, you guys on TikTok, you fantastic lot on TikTok, I will be closing you guys down shortly in about maybe like 4 or 5 minutes or something. If you want to continue on the live stream, I'm streaming right now on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. So if you want to jump over there, the chat's open. Have your say, get involved, because it's a party. We are talking about violence and rage is coming. The Greenland Gambit was phase 1. The New World Order is unfolding in front of our eyes. So let me talk about this real quick. So based on recent analysis, based on my own experience living in the United Kingdom, all right, I'm going to give you guys my top 3 scenarios, and some of them are interchangeable. My top 3 scenarios for a civil war in the United Kingdom. I'm talking about World War IV scenario. We all know, well, We all believe that World War III is inevitable, a war with Russia in Ukraine. I don't see the off-ramp to that. But here in the United Kingdom, I do think we're going to be fighting a war on the streets as well. So, without further ado, number one, and I do think this is in order, actually. So, number one, mass immigration and integration challenges. I think that is going to be the number one trigger, the number one cause, if for potentially, for entertainment purposes, a civil war breaks out in the United Kingdom. There are widespread, do you know what? I don't even think that's the right word to use. There are unified concerns over migration policies. And I'm not talking, I'm not, and when I say migration, I don't know what word to use because it's not migration, right? If you migrate to a country, that means you send in an application. You say, hey, listen, you know what? I want to live in your country. Will you accept me? Will you accept me? You go to that country. You're very grateful to that country for letting you in. You say, thank you very much. Honestly, I really appreciate you guys letting me in. I am going to abide by all your laws, all your legislations, and I am going to be your number one citizen. As far as I'm concerned, that's migration. If we emigrate to the United States, honestly, I will be number one American. I will not try and bring Britain to America. I will accept and acknowledge that I'm British by birth, but I've migrated to the United States. I will be like Stars and Stripes boy. I will be full time. I'll be more American than most Americans. Believe that. So when I use the word migration, I don't know what other word to use, right? Because people just turning up and saying, give me stuff, it's kind of not migration, right? It doesn't really help anyone. So widespread concerns over migration policies, cultural clashes and failed integration have been highlighted by many, many experts, because clearly I'm not an expert, have been highlighted by an expert as primary flashpoints. And you know what? Even if it's not highlighted, what I can do now is I can just use AI and fabricate some evidence and just propose it. Yeah, that's where I got it from. Do you know what? That'd be an interesting one, right? If you share, hey, hang on a minute. Stop the clock. Apply your safety catchers. Right. I've just thought of something, right? If West Midlands Police, Jesus, I didn't even think of this. You guys know where I'm going, right? If West Midlands Police are allowed to make up evidence, share it to Parliament and present it as true without going to jail, what about people who are sharing tweets online? Are they not doing a lesser crime? Jesus, I didn't even think of that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what the live stream should have been about. Right. I'm thinking in real time. And that's why you guys are here, right? Because of the side quests. So, West Midlands Police, for those of you guys who don't know, West Midlands Police fabricated a load of evidence to get the Israeli Tel Aviv, I don't know, an Israeli football team. I'm not a football guy, guys. I'm sorry. Basically, there was a football game in Birmingham. It was an Israeli team coming over to play Aston Villa in Birmingham, right? The West Midlands Police, they cancelled the game. They said they just fabricated a load of evidence. I've talked about this quite a lot. Is that not a worse crime than sharing a tweet? Guys, tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. Is it a bigger crime, right? Is it a bigger crime for a police chief to fabricate evidence, present it to Parliament as truth? Or is it a bigger crime for someone like Lucy Connolly to share a tweet that's been shared thousands of times? Which one of those is the biggest crime? I don't know. I don't know. Is crime A, as the police chief, fabricating evidence, presenting it to Parliament as truth? That's crime A. Or crime B, sharing a tweet that's been shared thousands of times, all right? Which one's the bigger crime? Because I know that this person got sent to prison. So I don't know, guys. Does that sound fair to you? Does that sound fair? Does anything sound fair? Anyway, so widespread concerns over migration, Paul. And again, I don't know what better word to use than migration. It's not migration. It's not, but whatever. Cultural clashes and failed integration have been highlighted as primary flashpoints in the United Kingdom, potentially leading to ethnic or identity-based conflicts in urban areas. This has been exacerbated by recent influxes and public backlash, with some experts warning it could be fuel... it could fuel broader instabilities across Europe, not just the United Kingdom. So that's number one, basically. Mass uncontrolled immigration. And again, it's not migration, it's not immigration. I just can't think of a better word to use. Economy. So that's my number one. I think that if it's going to go, that's when it's going to go, right? Number two, economic pressure and equality. Persistent economic woes such as inflation, cost of living crisis, and regional disparities, i.e. urban versus rural, could erode society and social cohesion and spark widespread protests and violence. Analysts point to the underlying causes that amplify other tensions, potentially leading to potential fragments. So what I mean there is, money, basically. And the reason I put this one at number two is because if you guys have read Marx and Engels' Communist Manifesto, I have. It's only a short book. So if anybody's got a book of a copy of the Communist Manifesto, like the Communist Manifesto is this big, like it's like I think it's like 48 pages or something, but the explanation is like that big. So, like, you get this tiny little book at the beginning. Or is it, I can't remember. It's the beginning or the end. And then you get the explanation afterwards. Anyway, in Marx and Engels, because it wasn't just called... Was it called Marx? Or was he a singer? I don't know. Anyway, Marx and Engels, all right, they wrote the Communist Manifesto. And one of the... He sets out three triggers for a revolution, basically. One, when housing is unattainable. Basically, you've got nowhere to live, right? Nowhere to live. When people can't feed themselves, when, you just can't feed yourself. The cost of buying food is just too expensive. And three, when there are no jobs and there is no prospect of getting jobs. Basically, when you've got nothing and you've got nothing to lose. And that is a direction that many of us in the United Kingdom are absolutely sleepwalking in right now. We're sleepwalking into it. People don't realize because it's happening piecemeal. It's happening so slow, and people don't really understand. This a while ago, I was in the gym and there were some guys and they were talking and one of the guys was saying, yeah, me and my girlfriend, one of them had lost their job or something. He's saying, yeah, me and my girlfriend are not moving in together now. Or we're not getting that new apartment or whatever. I can't remember what it was. He said, my girlfriend's going to sell her car and I'm going to cycle. No, I'm going to sell my car. No, we're not going to buy the new car and I'm going to cycle to work. That was it. Yeah, that was it. So, and I was listening. I was thinking, right, these people are lying to themselves that they're in a better situation. They're not. People are not in better situations. They're just lying to themselves. All right. Literally, people are lying to themselves. It's phenomenal, guys. It really is phenomenal. And my final And I will come on to the chat in a second, guys. And my final, and this kind of ties into number one, my final, trigger that could potentially cause a civil war in the United Kingdom is political polarization and identity politics. Now, this kind of ties into what I said initially on scenario one, but deepening divisions along political, ethnic, or ideological lines, including, there's a fallout from Brexit, rising populism. These could all escalate into sectarian violence or attacks on infrastructure, attacks on attacks on communities, which is often linked to fractured communities. When we say communities, do you all know what communities is a code for? You all know what that means, right? When you hear people on the mainstream media and they say communities, you all know what that's a code for, right? It's a code. But that's where we are, guys. That is where we are at the moment in the United Kingdom. Strap yourselves in. The world is your oyster. The world is your oyster. Violence and rage is coming, guys, okay? The Greenland Gambit is phase one. It is step one. Right, you guys on TikTok, Shally Badoc, Girl Has No N, Missy D's liked the comment, Laura 1980s joined as well. Delilah the Sea Witch is like it. Right, listen, guys. You guys on TikTok, you guys have got an extra 2 minutes, all right? And then I'm closing you guys down, and I will just be streaming exclusively for my homies on YouTube. You feeling me now? You feeling me, homies? You feeling me, homies? I know you're feeling me, homies, on YouTube. And I will just be streaming exclusively on YouTube. I'm going to get some comments now. Stephen is saying breaking. Hang on. What? Right, Stephen. Right, I'm gonna have right. Listen, guys. Right, I'm gonna have to Google this. Okay, so right. I've got this here. Right, I'm going to share this. I think this is the article, so I'll turn this down. I'll turn this down. Right, let me just share this with you guys real quick. I think this is what we're talking about. Police officer who stole underwear jailed. Now, I'm sharing this, guys. For you guys on TikTok, I'm sharing this off the BBC. A police officer who stole underwear from a home he was searching has been jailed. Marcin Zelensky, 47, was working for Herefordshire Police working for Herefordshire Police. So was he not a police officer? I don't know. Zelensky from St. Albans admitted to the charge of theft and a charge of corrupt improper exercise. It's a little bit more when you steal underwear. Right, it doesn't say children's underwear here. Right, I don't know where you're getting that. Okay, so look, I've got to be very careful about what I say on these live streams. So if you can send me a link to that article where what you were saying is true, I'll definitely share it. Oh, I've got Lisa Jane is saying Andrew Rosindell defects to Reform UK. So from well, this must be breaking news. Let me Google this real quick. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, as of 10 minutes ago. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Lisa Jane. As Lisa Jane is quite adequately and eloquently and fantastically put in. Andrew Rosindell, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Andrew Rosindell quits Tories and defects to Reform UK. Conservative Shadow Minister Andrew Rosindell has defected to Reform UK, becoming the 7th MP to do so. Announcing his resignation on Sunday, the Member of Parliament for Romford said the Conservative Party was irreparable, bound to the mistakes of previous governments and unwilling to make meaningful accountability for the poor decisions made over so many years. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage called him a great patriot who will be a great addition to our team. His reasoning for switching parties echoes that of the former Shadow Chancellor Robert Jenrick, who defected on Thursday. Look, we're seeing the New World Order. Right, honestly, guys, listen, when I started this live stream, I didn't know. Look, I didn't know this was going to happen, right? I didn't know. We are seeing the New World Order unfold right in front of us, okay? We're talking about people defecting to Reform. We're talking about the Tory party over. We are talking about a New World Order. We're talking about a United States takeover of the United Kingdom. Riddle me this, riddle me that, Batman. Out of all the people, right? Out of all the people in the United Kingdom, out of everyone in the UK, who's the one person, right? Who's the one person who has the most experience in causing a referendum? Who's the one person? Who's the one person in British politics right now who has the, who has the most experience in having a referendum? I don't need you guys to tell me. We all know the answer. It's big old Nigel Farage, okay? It's big old Nigel Farage. So when we talk about the New World Order, the United States becoming part of the United Kingdom, well, you know what? Who knows? The United Kingdom becoming part of the United States. Right now, answer me this, guys. Answer me this. Is it beyond the realms of possibility? Is it beyond the realms of reasoning that Nigel Farage, growing in popularity, growing in, influence in Parliament, is it beyond the realms of possibility that Farage could ask the people of the United Kingdom a simple question? Do you want to be American? We're not there yet. We're not there yet, guys. We're not. But do you think that's off the cards? Do you think that's a no-go? I remember when I floated this idea to you guys. Well, not maybe to you guys, maybe not to you guys. I remember when I floated this back in maybe 2 years ago now. And people shot me down in flames. People said, "Oh, Sean, that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. Britain will never be under the rule of a foreign ruler. We'll never be part of the United States. Rule Britannia." And I get that. I totally get that. But Mark Carney the other day, he said something, and look, I'm not really a big fan of Mark Carney, but he said something that was really poignant. He said, we need to deal with the world as it is. As it is. Not as we want it to be, not as it was, or not as it should be. We have to deal with the world as it is. And I'm telling you guys, as far as I'm concerned, that is coming. Right. Right, let me jump back. Anglo-Machiavellian is saying, you think most Americans want to add another California? Well, so I think, and I know that the Americans would want to add Antarctica. And the easiest way for the Americans to add Antarctica is to add Britain. So it's kind of a done deal. Also, when the Europeans lose the war with Russia, there's going to be no realistic, there's going to be nothing else to do, really. We either get taken by the Russians or the Americans come and take us. That's where we will be. Ultimately, that's where we'll be, guys, okay? Somebody on the chat earlier, I don't know who it was. Somebody on the chat earlier said something really, really good. They said, people are laughing because the Russians are using civilian vehicles, and the mainstream media are laughing at the Russians, saying they've run out of tanks. That's just not the case. That's just literally not the case. The case is It's cheaper, faster, and more effective to tell those people to steal things, to act like land pirates. And look, let's not be under any illusion. The Europeans have no idea how to deal with land pirates when they come. Not a chance. It's not even going to be close, guys. Not even going to be close. Right, let me jump up and get some more comments. Max Vaughan is saying, solve this riddle. East is like West in their agenda. What is their agenda? 9. Orange. The answer is orange. That's the answer, guys. That's the answer. Orange. Right, I'm going to jump down. I'm going to get the last few comments and I'm going to jump back to my... Sean, Trump sat onto Gaza Peace Committee with Blair. It's actually a World Peace Committee, one world government. Yeah, it's here. It's here, guys. Look, the new world order, one world government, aliens, it's all here. And it's unfolding right in front of our eyes. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Right, let me go back to my... Googleinos is saying Russia aims to form 11 new divisions for war in Ukraine. So when people say that the Ukrainians, that the Russians are finished, they're over, they're done, they can't continue, they just don't understand asymmetric warfare. That's the problem. We have a imagine you're a colonel in the British military, right? You're a colonel in the British military, right? All you've ever known is assault suppressed reserve. That's the only way you know how to fight a battle. Oh, you guys need to be turned off, don't you? Sorry, I kept you guys going. Catriona, Curly Kaz, Katia Caravalli, Martina, Kazi Fizzle, and Dada. Right, listen, you guys, I'm going to turn you guys off. I am going to turn you guys off now. I said I was going to turn you guys off ages ago. Totally forget. This is what gets me banned all the time, right? This is what gets me banned. Right, I'm going to turn you guys off. You're all fantastic. You're beautiful. You're amazing. I'll be continuing this live stream over on YouTube. The name's the same. Real Raven 1. If you want to jump over, you're more than welcome. The chat's open. Have your say. Put your 10 pence in. Let's see where it goes. Let's get this party started. Because we're already mid-January, right? We're already over mid-January. So I'm going to close you guys down on TikTok. But don't worry. If you've only got TikToks and you laid there in your phone, scrolling with your thumb, doing whatever, I will be back tomorrow morning at 10. Yes, I will. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 10. But if not, I bid you good evening. Right, let's turn these guys off. Let's get these guys off. Right, they're off now. They are off. Right, they're off. Ah! Every time. It's either my finger or my phone. Yeah, so when people are saying, all these, all these Europe bros, and they're all saying, Russians are having to use African conscripts. I'm like, yeah, that's how they roll. Russians don't have any tanks. They're having to steal cars. Yeah, it's actually better to steal cars than to have your own tanks. It really is. Right, I'm going to jump back to my America. Right, I used to have that as my. I used to have that. When you get like on the older phones. Well, do you know what? You could probably do it on mine. But I used to have that as when somebody sent me a text message. It used to go America. Anyway, right. Let me close that. Right, I'm going to talk about my opening monologue again, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit more depth. Okay, now the first thing I want to talk about is the Orwellian lineup that we're heading towards right now. So earlier on, right when I started the live stream, I said that we are going to end up, this is what I'm thinking, guys, and it really is, I've not heard anyone else talking about this. We are going to end up with America as the OG. They're going to have Greenland, Canada, the United Kingdom, obviously Antarctica, Australia, New Zealand, Israel, Japan, and maybe even Taiwan. That's off the bat. That's going to be Oceania, right? For the purposes of this explanation, that's going to be Oceania, and the opposing side is going to be run by China with Russia, Europe. Yeah, I said it, guys. I don't see Europe defeating the Russians. I don't. They can. They absolutely can. They absolutely can defeat the Russians, but they won't. Which is so, honestly, it's so difficult to watch. So difficult to watch. It's like, you know, when, so one of the girls, she had a splinter. You know, I bet. Are you ever had kids, right? And they've got verrucas. You'll see where I'm going right now. I'm gonna give you guys a verruca. Europe is a verruca right now. Europe is a verruca. Europe is a foot and it has a verruca, right? So one of the girls, she had a verruca on her foot, and I was putting that, you know, that bazooka stuff, right? That bazooka stuff. So what you have to do with this bazooka, guys, and you'll see where I'm going in a minute. You'll see where I'm going. This bazooka stuff, you put it on the kid's feet, and the next day you have to peel it off, but it hurts a little bit. But if you don't peel it off, it won't help. And the quicker you do it, the quicker you'll get rid of the verruca, right? And that's what Europe is right now. They're too scared to peel that verruca stuff off. So they're just letting it get worse and worse. That's the reality. They won't do it. Oh, Googleinos has sent a super, and he's saying, Russia plans to... Guys, I said this. I literally said this. I don't know how many times I've said this. These ones... These drones, that's what they're talking about. We are talking about a global conflict on an industrial scale. Now, Russia can, these drones that they're launching, the Russians, they don't come back. The engines, the motors, the control systems, the GPS, the gyroscopes, the munitions, it goes and it doesn't come back. So can you imagine what kind of manufacturing capacity you have to be able to build that many drones? And look, ladies and gentlemen, right? How many times have I sat here and said, we are heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale, and mass matters. The ability to produce things at scale, which we don't have in the United Kingdom. We don't have in the West. Why? Because we've never faced this threat. And it really does, it really does shock me. It does. It shocks me every time I see these things. Like do you know what? It doesn't actually shock me. It shocks me that I'm seeing it that late. You know, when I say things and then later on it happens, and you guys see it in the media, and I've said it long ago. It shocks me that I know this, right? So clearly there are people in government, there are people in the media who know this. I'm not like, I don't claim to have a crystal ball. Like I always say, I've got an 8-ball and it's not that accurate. Do I tell you guys these things? Heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale, and we are not ready for that. In the West, we're never going to be ready for that. And that's the reality. That's why I'm saying that the Russians will roll through Europe. If this conflict isn't contained in Ukraine, the Russians will roll through Europe, guys. Right. Somebody just put something on there about drones. I can't remember who it was. Somebody put something on there about drones. Who was it? Who put something about... Oh, Sean, get Silly's comment. Right, what's Silly saying? Silly is saying the Iranian national TV broadcast just got hacked. Let's have a look what this is about. Let's have a look. Iran TV got hacked. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you guys now, and I'm reading this from the Jerusalem Post. So this is an Israeli. Well, I'm assuming this is an Israeli outlet. I'm just going to share this with you guys real quick, and then so this is what I'm going from here, guys. The Jerusalem Post. Anti-regime activists hack Iran's national broadcast, transmit Pahlavi's call to protest. So the guy is he's the son of the last Shah. So it looks like, and look, guys, I'll be quite clear. I'm getting this in real time. I'm trying to talk to you guys, and I'm trying to talk to you guys, digest the information, and give you guys a real-time analysis. So it looks like Iranian state TV has been hacked with a call to protest by the exiled Shah's son, which is a pretty big thing. That's kind of a big thing. Very embarrassing for the Iranians. Right, I'm jumping down to the bottom. Imagine how many drones China will produce. Yeah, you can't imagine, can you? You can't imagine the production facility. And here in the United Kingdom, right, we are in absolute denial here in the United Kingdom, guys. I promise you, we are in denial in the United Kingdom. Absolute denial. We don't think this is coming. We think it's far away and it's not going to affect us. Do you know what's going to be a massive soberer-upper? When we start to see those coffins come back with the Union flag on them, and they're going through, where do they go through? What's the town they go through? Is it Montbasson or something? What's the town they go through? It's near Bryce Norton. What is the town? Wootton Bassett, sorry, Wootton Bassett. Yeah, Wootton Bassett. Can you guys remember? Right? Can you guys remember? So, listen, if you guys want to know how bad things are in the United Kingdom, like, and I know there's a few people that are not from the United Kingdom. So, there's a town. How do I explain this? So, when people die, when British military die overseas, obviously they get sent back in a coffin on the back of an aeroplane with a Union flag draped over them. They then come off, they land at RAF Bryce Norton, and then they drive through a town called Wootton Bassett. It's, you know, it's a very somber thing. I've had quite a few friends go through Wootton Bassett. And we had a stage in the United Kingdom where Muslims were actually protesting there at that time. You know, they turned up and they were, you know, they were doing their, you know, their Muslim thing. And I was like, we're cooked. We are cooked. And this was like 15 years ago, maybe more, you know, and unless you've lived through that, you kind of don't understand the articulations, right? You don't understand the intricacies. You don't understand those little points and the articulations and the punctuations. You don't understand the punctuation or the articulation of how dark and disrespectful that actually is. And it is. bad. It's bad. But you know what? It's going to be a big wake-up call. It is. It's going to be a big wake-up call for people when we start to see. I mean, we've already seen this, right? Can you remember when the British Defence Minister, John Healey, he came out and he said, "Yes, this is the first British soldier died in Ukraine." I was like, "Why are you saying first? Like, why are you saying first? Are you expecting more? Like, are you expecting more?" I would say they are expecting more. I'd say they're expecting a lot more as we head into WW3. Right, I've got a few more bits to get onto, guys. Give me a second. Where am I? So we just talked then about you know, the Oceania side, right? And they are going to be, and the opposite side of this is going to be like China, Russia, Europe, Iran, North Korea, maybe even South Korea, India and Turkey. They're always, you know, they're always aces in the hole. India and Turkey, you never know which way they're going to go. Now, there's no going back. There really is no going back from where we are right now. If anybody thinks there's a way back, let me know what it is. Are we going to vote our way out of this? Do you think we're going to vote our way out of the troubles we're in right now? How's that working for you guys? I would say voting is null and void at this point. It doesn't really matter. The government always get in. You know, we have things unfolding right now in front of our eyes that can't be undone. Too much commitment in Ukraine. Do you know what? Maybe not enough. Maybe too much of the wrong commitment in Ukraine and not enough of the real commitment in Ukraine. Somebody put on the chat earlier that Britain is aiming to develop 1,000 drones a month. Okay, let me try and find this comment. I can't remember who said it. Somebody on the chat basically said there was a news article saying Britain is going to be producing 1,000 drones per month. Okay, yeah, but they're going to be producing these ones, right? These ones with a little quadcopter drones, and this is one of the big problems that people don't understand. There are drones, and there are drones. It's a massive, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a misconception, right? It's a misconception because people say, "Oh, you're buying a drone." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm buying a drone. How much is it?" "Oh, it was $200. "Oh, right. Okay. That's how much a drone costs." "Oh, you're buying a drone, are you?" "Yeah." "How much did it cost?" $27 million. What? What does that even mean? You know, so drones vary and vary and vary. Now, Britain is building these ones, right? And the article that you're referring to is an article, I think they're called Octopus. I think it's called Octopus drones, and they are interceptors. Going to be absolutely useless against these. Absolutely useless, guys. Maybe they'll be okay as last line of defense, but they're going to be, at the whole, they're going to be useless. Absolutely useless. Britain's spending our money on the wrong. We're spending our money on the wrong things, guys. We really are. We're sleepwalking into apocalypse right now. And look, the headline of this live stream: violence and rage is coming. I don't understand how it's not. I really don't understand how it's not, guys. It's absolutely crackers majackers. It's crackers majackers. Right, let me get some comments, and then we will. What time is it? Right, we'll get some comments, and then we start to close these things down. Mango chutney. I love a mango chutney. Listen, you know when you go to the Indian restaurant, right? Who else makes sure they eat all the pickle jar? Like, you know, you come out, you get the poppadoms, right? You get the poppadoms, and you get like yogurt and mint. You get like onion and cucumber chopped up, maybe with a bit of tomato. And then you get like this mango chutney, and it's like, I don't know, the mango chutney. Anyway, look, I'll just let you guys know. I make sure I eat every drop of that. And when he comes out and he says, "Can I take your order?" I say, "Yes, good sir. Give me the hottest curry that you've ever produced and make it a double." I say that every time. every time I will say that, blows my basil off, and I definitely should I should learn from my own mistakes, but I can't do it, guys. I'm such an alpha. Testing myself. I test my metal wherever I go, whether it's in an Indian restaurant, whether it's in the gym. I will take that to the candy shop. Anyway, Mango Chunks is saying, looking forward to watching Disclosure Day. So I was thinking about these. If you want to subvert a generation, right? If you guys want to subvert a generation or prepare a generation for an alien invasion, you would need to attack my generation. So if you're in your, I don't know, late 30s to mid 40s, maybe, I don't know. If you're basically like millennials, like early to late millennials, that's the generation you want to attack if you're going to have an alien invasion now, or a perceived alien invasion. Now, with that in mind, I did speak about this earlier, because if all the stuff that we've spoke about isn't enough to keep you guys up all night, there was news today that the Bank of England in the United Kingdom are preparing strategies for aliens. Yes, no, I don't mean migrants coming over with no visas. I mean actual extraterrestrials, nanu, little spaceship, little green men, aliens. That's what's really happening in the United Kingdom, in the world right now. We are having the Bank of England prepare for alien contact. I did a live stream on this earlier, and I talked about, I went into it in depth, but this is no longer, this sort of stuff is no longer, this sort of stuff's no longer fringe news. This is mainstream news now. This is mainstream stuff. Right, I'm just going to jump to the bottom. Chris is saying, I don't think people realize how much drones have changed warfare. The Houthis chased away US carriers with drones. Exactly. The Houthis chased away I can remember when all this kicked off in the Middle East, and I was talking about Iran, actually. I was saying, listen, the Iranians can close the Strait of Hormuz. And somebody was on the chat saying, the Americans are sending a US strike group. Good luck. I was like, do you know what a US strike group is? Look, and I'm not taking anything away from the Americans. They're the biggest boys in town. They've got all the guns. They've got all the airplanes. Nobody can, realistically, nobody can deal with the Americans. But you know what a ship is, right? A ship is a boat. A boat is a ship's on water, right? And ships can sink. Do you know what a country is? A country is not on water. You can't sink a country. I know the US Air Force is fantastic and it's amazing, but you can't sink you can't sink a country, guys. You can't sink Iran. Right. But yeah, as Chris is saying, that the Houthis in Yemen, they managed to chase away US carriers with drones. It was unbelievable. Right, I'm jumping down, and then I am going to the endeavor to preserve is saying the Earth is 70% water. The United States controls 100% of the air. I would say the United States controls 100% of the water as well. They have the biggest navy. They have the biggest navy as well. Poseidon can sink a country. So Max Vogan he's talking there about the Poseidon. Well, it's not been proven yet, right? Okay, so let's just be clear. All right, I understand. Okay, let me caveat this. All right. So the Poseidon missile system is basically it's an underwater nuclear drone, right? It's literally, imagine a submarine, right, with a nuclear weapon in it that's nuclear powered, and no, it doesn't have any. No, it's not manned. Just moves autonomously under the water, really slow. with a nuclear weapon in it. That's what Poseidon is. Now, obviously, you know, Poseidon has not been tested before. It's not been operationally tested. So we don't know if it's going to work. We don't know how effective it's going to be. But I would say Poseidon can't sink a country. I'd say it could cover it in water. Then that water would recede because the countries are higher, right? So I still don't think you can sink a country, guys. I don't think you can sink a country. Googleinos is saying Ministry of Defence pocketed 57 million in bonuses. Right. Right, I'm going to have to get onto this because the Ministry of Defence don't get bonuses. Let me see what this means. Hang on. It's the civil servants, right? So, okay, right, okay, fair enough. All right, I'll just share this with you guys real quick. MOD staff pocket 57 million in bonuses despite new defense chief's 28 billion black hole. So what this actually is civilians who work for the Ministry of Defense. This is not actually the Ministry of Defense. This is not the Army. This is not the Air Force. This is not the Navy. These are civilians that, I mean, a lot of these guys are desperate. Well, it says there, literally says exactly the words I was just saying. Civil servants working for the Ministry of Defence pocketed 57 million in bonuses last year, despite the department facing billions of pounds of cuts. And this is the problem. This is literally the problem. It's not, wars are not profitable. Campaigns are profitable. Long, drawn-out conflicts with no real winner. That's the money. That's where the money is. The figure handed out by the Labour government to mostly desk-bound. God, that really grips me, guys. That really grips me. Sorry, I'll read this. The figure handed out by the Labour government to the mostly desk-bound staff is 25 million more than the 32 million they received in 2019. In total, bonuses have been awarded since that year amount to 200 million. Wow, that is phenomenal. This is to sack everyone. Sack everyone. Put me in charge. No more wars. Literally, sack everyone, right? Sack everyone who has to deal with the MOD, right? Anyone who's in a desk job, sack everyone. Put Raven in charge. There'll be no more wars. Britain will take whatever we want from whoever we want, whenever we want. We'll go into space. We'll all be rich. We'll all be living in broad sunlit uplands. And we will live in absolute fucking paradise. All right? But they're not going to do that, right? They're not going to do that. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down. Things are getting wild. The crux of this live stream has been, and it's bonkers, the crux of the live stream has been violence and rage is coming. I don't know how you can argue against that. Donald Trump's Greenland Gambit has been the first step in that. It's been the first step in that. And the new world order has been really revealed. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. I'm going to catch you guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll be catching you guys tomorrow. I'll be on the live stream at 10. Make sure you're not late. Make sure you're up bright and early. Maybe even laid on your bed scrolling on your phone. I don't know. Just make sure you're there. 10 o'clock tomorrow, guys. I bid you good evening. I'll see you guys later. Oh, hang on. I need to, I'll go now.